Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. I don't like to make life easy for myself, do I? This is an old big bit of birch which I've had sitting around the workshop for a while. I keep on meaning to do something with it, but now I've got some power behind me, I can do it. Now I've got as you can see on the bark here, it's starting to crack. Now I just need to lift this bark to see if it's the bark that's cracking or if it's the wood that's cracked underneath. I've got a feeling it's just the bark. Now, sometimes with a natural bowl, it's nice to leave the bark on, but in other cases you've got to try and be safe and make sure you know as much as you can about the wood before you continue. From what I can see, it's just the bark that's splitting. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Okay, right, now to get this mounted on the lathe, I was going to use a face plate, and this is about the flattest area we've got. I don't particularly want to start cutting into it to create a flat spot because I want as much choice as possible as I'm turning this. So there's a nice flat bit here, so that's where I'm going to put the face plate. Okay, we're all sharpened up. I'm just going to do a quick balance test, but before I do that, I'm just going to move my control panel for my lathe right in front of me here so I can alter it without having to lean across this thing. Right, start off with a slower speed. A little bit of a wobble, just try and pick it up and see it'll go past it. There you go. 550. So initially turning at 550 until we get this beast under control. First thing to go is this little knob here. So yeah, aim for you. So you go. I'm going to stick with the glove on the left hand because this bark is quite loose in places, so I don't want to get hit by anything of that flying off. I am wearing a full face mask, so that's safe, and I'm always standing well to the side as this is spinning. Okay, carry on. Oh wow. Yep, definitely some beautiful spalting in here. Now every time you get spalting you're always going to get a little bit of softer wood, but we can hopefully sort that with a bit of shellac or something. But nice. Right, we've got quite a bit of rot in these areas here, so I'm going to keep on going on these higher points to see how deep they go, because I can fix a lot, but some of this wouldn't be pretty even if it was fixed. As you can see, we've still got an awful lot of rot in these areas. There's obviously been some splits in the wood where a lot of damp's got in. We want it like that. So let's keep on going and see if we can get something out of this. That side's improving. This side is still looking pretty awful. Carry on. We may be able to save these sides. I never intended this to be a vase, but because of the problems we're having with the wood, it may end up being one. Okay, I think it can be saved. Right, next step now, I'm going to give it a good dousing of shellac in all the punky areas, and then we'll leave it overnight to give it a chance to firm up, and then we'll see what it's like tomorrow. Okay, well that's given it as good a chance as possible to see if we can firm up those nasty spots. We'll come back tomorrow and see if it's done any good. Okay, the shellac's had a good time to dry off, so let's see if it's made our life any easier. Okay, it is fractionally better. I've got this huge dip in here which I need to start considering, because I can't turn a tenon or a recess in there in its current state, so it is going to have to come a little bit thinner in this area. So I'm going to start working on that, try and find a design that works with the shape of wood we've got to play with. Okay, something's starting to appear. We've just got to make this fit with the rest. I think the bottom of the vase is going to be around there. There's not an awful lot I can do here with this, so I'm just going to have to keep going and see how we get on. Right, that's the shape I want. So let's just do a bit of careful checking. Right, I can just about get a 50mm tenon on there to grab with my jaws, so that's fine. We have to go up a little bit further, and then it's a case of shearing up this wood to make sure that we can sand it afterwards. Right, I'm going to start sorting this bit, and then we'll start looking at the state of the wood. We've still got an awful lot of punky wood in these areas, which is to be expected. So I think what I'm going to do is give it a good dousing in CA glue in these areas. Give that a good while to set, and then go over with a very fine scraper. Give that a good while to set, and then we'll see what's happened. Okay, I've got my freshly sharpened negative rake scraper, and now we're just going to do very light cuts over the surface and see what we're left with. Okay, we need to go a little bit further on the scraping, but that's a vast improvement on what we had before. Okay, right, I'm going to spend a bit of time now sanding this to see if we can take it all the way to be able to put a finish on it. I'm not 100% sure we can, but we may as well give it a go. Well, that took a while. It's got quite nicely. There's still a little bit of areas that could be refined a little bit more, but I think considering what it was like, it's come an awful long way. Right, I'm going to put trying to think what finish to put on this. I could put a sealer on it, and then a light wax. Could just oil it. I think I'm going to go and try a sealer first. I love the contrast between the light and the dark areas on this, so I'm not going to use a cellulose. Sorry, I'm not going to use a shellac seal. I'm going to go in the cellulose, so I can keep as much of the natural colour as possible. Okay, I can buff this in. I don't have to let it sit dry. Okay, that's left a lovely finish on the wood. We're going to improve that finish now with a bit of True Grit abrasive paste. Clean off the surface with isopropyl alcohol. Let that evaporate and then put a wax on. I'm just putting a beeswax and linseed oil finish on this. Now, if you want to know how to make this stuff, then if you look back on my videos, you'll see one where I make some oak shot glasses, and the full instructions are in that video. Just buff this in. When I buff this in, we'll turn it around and start hollowing it out. Right, we're all turned around. I am going to turn the headstock out to make it easier to hollow, but before we do that, I'm just going to bring up the tailstock and drill a hole in here with the Forstner bit, just to make the hollowing a little bit easier. With that done, you can just turn the headstock out. Makes it so much easier to get into these kind of bowls. Quickly sharpen up again. We'll quickly move the cameras and then we'll get started on this. Okay, that's all gone well. So we'll get this back into its original configuration and start sanding. As ever, with the sanding, I'll let you watch the start and I'll bring you back when we're done. Okay, sanding has gone great. I've given the top edge a light sand over. I want to leave this rustic kind of feel to it as much as possible because it really fits in with the rest of the bowl. So sealer on the inside, then an abrasive paste, and then I'll polish. I'll have to put a little bit more polish on the outside because I accidentally just touched it with a rotary tool. So that'll just need a bit of polish back on it again. Go back in with the abrasive paste. Clean off the residue with isopropyl alcohol. Let it evaporate, then I'll go in with a bit of polish. As before, we're using the beeswax and linseed oil polish. So I'll buff this in, and I'll quickly turn it around, take off the tenon, and then we can take a last look at what we've done. Well, there we have it. Who would have thought inside that horrible rotten log was such a beautiful piece of spalted birch? I nearly gave up with this one halfway through when there was no end to the rot in the wood. I was thinking about just taking it off and throwing it into the burn pile. But I'm glad we persevered, because that really is quite stunning. The spalting effect is just, I think it's worth the effort we went to try and get this savable or finishable. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, I would love a thumbs up, and if you want anything to say, please leave it a comment as well. We are going to be doing another giveaway. I'm not quite sure exactly what at what point, but it will be in the relatively near future, and it always goes by the comments. So if you've left a comment and you're subscribed, then you'll always be entered into the giveaway for a bowl when we reach the milestone I'll be setting soon. But apart from that, thank you very much indeed for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Thank you.